What the hell is wrong with those people? Honestly, every few years, America gets bored, looks up north, and suddenly, Canada starts looking like some underused B&B listing. Oh, look, that land! Yeah, we have land. We also have winter, you lunatics. Everybody loves the idea of Canada until about the first or second week of February, when the air itself feels personally offended by your existence. You don't just visit parts of Canada in the winter time, you negotiate with it. You don't go for a walk, you enter a survival agreement. From September to May, half the fucking country is basically a police threat. And yet, every time some loudmouth American starts flapping his gums, he talks about Canada like it's sitting here waiting to be claimed. Claimed? Claimed? That's not the last chicken wing on the pub platter you're talking about, you overconfident ferret. This is a country, a real country, with real history, with real sacrifice, with families who have been doing it here generation after generation, with people who know the difference between survival and branding. I have children. I have grandchildren. I want them to be proud of Canada, notwithstanding there while some old orange blowhard flirts my sovereignty like it's a business merger. Canada is not a corporate takeover. You don't get hostile to acquire a nation because your ego got bored on Tuesday. My grandfather served World War One, World War Two. My grandfather was shot twice. Twice! That's not a rounding error. My father served in the Pacific Fleet. He was in the Navy almost 10 years. My son in law is serving as a combat engineer for the better part of his adult life. He's been in Poland. He's been in the Louis. Never mind. I can't pronounce it, so I'm not going to be disrespectful. And my daughter, she's been in the reserve for 13 years. So when I hear some idiot talking about Canada is soft, ornamental, or available, I think, available to who exactly? To what? A real estate scam with a flag? Do you know what I love about Canadians? We're polite, right up until the we're not. We say sorry for everything. You bump into us, we say sorry. You insult us, we say sorry. You invade our personal space, we say sorry. At this point, if a moose backed over me in a Canadian Tire parking lot, my dying words would be, sorry, sir, but sorry, it's not consent. Sorry, it's not surrender. Sorry, it's not, please answer the study. Annex, there we go. It means we have manners. That's it. Manners. The concept America keeps treating us like we're some foreign exotic exchange student. And then there's this spectacularly stupid line, Canada has no culture. Uh, no culture. No culture? That's such a stupid thing to say. It should come with a helmet and a court ordered handler. No culture. We have indigenous culture older than your cable news cycle. We have French Canadians, Atlantic Canadians, prairie culture, West Coast culture, Arctic communities, military traditions, immigrant traditions, kitchen parties, powwows, legion halls, fiddle music, Métis history, drum songs, bagpipes, square dancing in schools. You know how many Canadian children have been forced to square dance in gymnasiums under fluorescent lighting? That alone is national building for trauma. It's culture. That is shared suffering and it's identity. And music. My God. Bryan Adams, Celine Dion, Alanis Morissette, Anne Murray, The Hip, Rush, Jan Arden, Bare Naked Ladies, Chilliwack, Buble. We have enough music to soundtrack 3 divorces, 2 road trips, and a suspiciously emotional fishing trip weekend. Comedy. John Candy, Jim Carrey, Kathleen O'Hara, Eugene Levy, Kids in the Hall, SCTV, Mary Walsh. Mary Walsh. This hour has 22 minutes. The Rick Mercer Report. We produce so many funny people because when you live in a cold country, humor stops being entertainment and becomes heating infrastructure. And yes, I own firearms. Legally in Canada, which of course means tests, screenings, renewals, rules, storage laws, hunting laws, enough bureaucracy to make a tax auditor cry into his coffee. I don't mind because responsibility matters. That's another thing I don't always get about Canadians, American. Hey, you Americans, that's it. You guys don't get it. We are not anti-responsibility. We are not anti-discipline. We're not anti-sacrifice. This country was built by people who did hard things in bad weather without whining on a podcast with a microphone and a personal brand. We hunt, we fish, we camp, we freeze, we fix things with baling wire, duct tape, and inherited stubbornness. Moose, deer, rabbit, partridge. Half this country has at some point looked into the freezer and thought, well, good, at least the economy is collapsing. We got lots of meat and vodka. We're okay. That is not weakness. That's a civilization. And I'm so tired of this idea because Canadians are decent. We must somehow be passive. We're not screaming and yelling all the time. We must not love our country enough because we don't chest them. Every 6 seconds, we must have not have pride. No, we have pride. We just don't usually accessorize it with gold toilets and felony energy. I grew up writing letters to Her Majesty. When Queen Elizabeth died, I cried for days. I love this country. I love our history. I love ridiculous weather, our dark gallows humor, our long memories, our quiet refusals to be pushed around. And yes, I've always had some cautions about Americans. Not all Americans, but enough of the loud ones. The ones that give me caution. They look less like prejudice and it's more like pattern resident recognition these days. Because too often, America behaves like the neighbor who keeps borrowing your goddamn ladder and then starts asking weird questions about your backyard property line. No, back up to the fence, Steve. Canada is not your opportunity. It is not your fallback plan. Canada is not your northern expansion pack. We're a nation. Stubborn, frozen, funny, over apologetic, historically armed, and common sense as a nation. We are not for sale. Not for oil, not for ego, not for strategy, not for some grotesque fantasy that everything on the continent should eventually come to the American flag and a fast food sponsorship. No, I'm Canadian. I will die Canadian. My family served this country. My children belong to this country. My grandchildren will know this country. And if anybody is still confused, let me be clear in the plainest Canadian language possible. Take off, eh? I'm Lord Briggs, and that's my time.